We are together, and through this, we will survive.
Okay, I told myself I wasn't going to get this, but I kept seeing it on sale, and I kept hearing lots of complaints about it. And for some reason, I thought to myself, let's go ahead and let's purchase this. Let's see if this is as bad as people say. So, we're going to review Hasbro's Zord Ascension Project Astro Megazord from Power Rangers in Space. So first we got to talk about the box. So when I got mine, I do not have the sleeve. It's just like this, but I thought that the artwork right here is really cool. It's really awesome. Box is huge. Here we have a illustration of the figure. I think it's an actual picture of the figure, or it's a 3D render of the figure, but it looks beautiful. If we go over here to the side, this is an illustration of the figure. It's like comic book style. It looks awesome. It says Power Rangers Lightning Collection at the bottom. At the top of the box, there's that QR code. At the back of the box, you have this Z. For Zap, I guess. And then at the bottom, you have the Z logo again for what I'm assuming is the Zap. That's the Zap logo that they were going to use. Okay, so when you open the box, you have this cover right here in the front, which is really cool. It's some detail, I guess, that would be inside the Astro Megazord's command center, I guess. So you got that, you got this, the vitals, radar. It's pretty neat how much they put into the presentation of these Zap Megazord figures. And then this, the actual top part of the box, you have another illustration of the Megazord in battle, which is beautiful. Okay, so these neat little figurines or little statues of the Rangers come included, and they are neat. They're okay. I guess they're proportionate to the Megazord. It comes with these grip hands. These are the hands that you use to have the Megazord hold a weapon, mainly the sword or the gun that he has. Of course, you have the Megazord's blade here, his sword, which is very long. So we pull out the ruler. As you can see, it's pretty much 12 inches or just under 12 inches. Beautifully painted. Good plastic. You have these open hands. This set of hands is obviously a closed fist. It is like a softer type of plastic, almost rubbery, but not really rubbery. And of course, it's painted. You do have the shield for the Megazord. Of course, this stores at the bottom of the ship. As you can see, when it's in Megazord mode, you flip this up, and this slides, and then you got it ready to be used as a shield. Here's what it looks like when the shield is stored and it's mega ship mode. It clips right in. The bottom of the ship does have wheels. Alright, so you got these clips, and then you got these side rockets that go to the bigger, I guess, rocket pod. I don't know what you call this white piece, but this attaches to the shuttle. And of course, in Megazord mode, handle pops out, and then this becomes a blaster. Anyways, this has clips. You have the rockets right here that clip out, and then these clip right into here. It's cool how you have a cockpit here on the ship. You lift this up right here, you gotta be careful, and you have the mega ship cockpit. This is where the Rangers sit. I thought that was really cool. That was a really neat feature that they threw in. Of course, you have these soft plastic pieces, turrets, that are painted in silver. Here you have the missile pod, or whatever the hell this is called, that attaches to the shuttle. And then it has the 2 booster rockets. It doubles as the gun for the Megazord. And of course, beautifully painted, hollow on these sides. Here you have it in its gun mode. My suggestion, my tip, if you are going to have him holding the sword, it's better just to pre-equip the sword on the hand before you install it, because if not, you're going to be wrestling with the rest of the figure, and it's a big, massive robot that you're wrestling with. Do it beforehand, because this is a very, very tight fit. Like, you really gotta wrestle this to get it in there. There you go. Man, it's a tight fit, but I recommend doing that, doing it this way, and then installing the hand before, you know, or otherwise you're going to be doing what I was doing and struggling with the whole massive figure. So just pre-install before you equipped it, because it's a very tight fit. You really got to wrestle it, you really got to shove it in there, but you got no lube. This is where you store it. This is where you store the shuttle and the hangar. It fits real snug on my copy, but the shuttle itself is drooping. It's limp. No matter how many times I close it, rearrange it, wrestle with it, it never completely closes flush. So it always has this gap. Open up the cockpit to the shuttle. The Rangers are right there sitting in their little command center in the cockpit. It's really cool. These little details are really awesome. Really cool. So my shuttle is having trouble staying together without any gaps. But other than that, paint apps look marvelous. All the detail in the paneling looks awesome. There's no paint slop on mine. But yeah, this gap has trouble staying like that. Here you have the shuttle and its launch mode, I guess. This is how they launch it to space, right? Like this flies up, it hits a certain altitude, you guys know, and then these rockets fall away into the atmosphere, and then this last one gets it up there, and once this last one is out of gas, it detaches, and then the shuttle floats off into space, right? But yeah, this is what it looks like in that mode. For a size comparison of the shuttle here, Here it is with this little core class hot rod or Rodimus that came with the Titan class Star Optimus. So pretty much the same size, but this is heftier, way heftier. Here we have the Astro Megaship, this big chunky bitch of a ship. Beautiful and gorgeous. Beautiful chrome plastic, which is a finger magnet. Like, if you're not a fan of that, you're gonna have to handle it with gloves, and I am pretty concerned that this is gonna start chipping. Honestly, I wish that instead of the chrome, they would have just painted this solid red like they did here, which may also start chipping. So what can you do, right? But red paint here, silver, beautiful paneling. Just every detail on the figure is just gorgeous. Silver chrome again, which I'm very concerned that will start to flake and chip, you know, with time. But this thing is gorgeous. This thing is massive and chunky. This guy is heavy. Of course, you have the rockets back here. Just a beautiful, beautiful, massive, beautiful blue bitch of a spaceship that we got here. I love this thing. Even with all the problems that it has that are all well documented, I love this big chunky robo from my childhood. This thing is cool. To give you a good perspective on how big this big beauty is in its ship mode, here we have a leader class transformer, a true leader class in the G2 Grimlock. And this thing is huge. The Grimlock is a pretty sizable lad. And he is nowhere near as chunky as this ship. And here we have little Hot Rod. Yeah, that's a big boy. And that's that he's compressed. Now you should see how big it gets when it's in Megazord mode. Now to prepare the shuttle for Megazord mode, it's very simple. This comes out. This zigzags out. And there you go. And now it's the head of the would-be Megazord. You unclip the shield. You know what sucks is you get excited, you pay all this money for this, right? Assuming you paid the $160 that they were asking for when it first came out. And even at $100, even at $80, you expect more than this. Look at the dead knee joint. It was like that out of the box. Fresh out of the box. Opened it, had never been opened by anyone but me. And when it should sound like that. But instead, yeah, that sucks. Okay, these are the infamous clips that have been known to break. Either this part breaks or this part breaks. So far, I have not had an issue, knock on wood. But these are the infamous clips that have been known to break. Let's check out the articulation on this bad boy, starting with the headpiece. The headpiece can look that way. Actually do a full 360. Can't look down that much. Oops. Okay, that was my fault. And you could look up slightly, look down, all that good stuff, which is pretty good for our head articulation, especially if you remember the old school days of the old Power Ranger releases. Arm, ooh, does a full 360 like that. You have this joint right here, elbow does bend like that. There is no bicep swivel, but there is one here at the forearm, so you could spin it like that. You can move the wrist a full 360. Ab crunch, believe it or not. Look at that. Ab crunch on this big bastard. You could twist at the waist. Full 360. Articulation is impressive for such a big bot. Skirts up. You could kick that far up. Can't really kick that far back because this does not articulate. And of course, as I showed you, you do bend at the knee right here, like that. But it doesn't really have a long thigh because of the way it's designed, so you can. Let's see if I can do it. You could do splits, kind of. That's just as wide split as it'll go. And then the toe articulation, bend down like that. You have some movement down here, some pivot. You could angle, but yeah, incredibly articulated for what it is. Okay, here I have him in a dynamic pose with his sword and shield, and you could get him in some pretty cool poses. Could definitely never do this back in the day with the old brick style Megazords we used to get. Okay, so to give you an idea of how big this is, here he is with Hasbro's latest small Titan, which retailed at what, 150, 160, which makes sense because this guy, when he was new a couple years ago, retailed for 160. So it makes sense to me when I see it this way. Here we have this big bastard with the old Hasbro Megazord. This is the Megazord that they put out in 2 packs before they did the Zap project. But yeah, as you can see, this guy dwarfs that Megazord. Overall, guys, I think that Hasbro had the right idea. They had the right intentions when they set out to do these Zords. The proportions are brilliant. It's very close to the suit, at least to me, at least from what I see. It's very faithful to the original toy. I mean, what more can you ask for? Like, this was brilliant, you know? Now, the downside was all the nightmare QC issues that everybody had, you know, with this, you know? And I got lucky. You know, I didn't have any broken clips or anything like that. Not yet, at least. Or I didn't have anything missing right out of the package. No chip paint yet. With the exception of that dead ratchet joint. Or that dead knee joint that I showed off in the video. Other than that, it is a bummer that the company that did or has been doing robots, transforming robots better than anyone, dropped the ball with Power Rangers somehow. That sucks. But you know what? We'll see what the Playmates Megazords offer. Or Megazord, you know, because who knows if they'll get past Mighty Morphin. But you know, we'll check that out when we get the chance. But do not spend $160 on this. I'd say if you could get it for like $80, get it for $80. And if you could get it for a steal at 60, get it at that price. I'm saying that because all the QC issues that this thing came with, you know, you are literally playing Russian roulette. I think I got lucky just having that dead joint in the knee versus all the other problems that everyone complains about. But you know what? Do I recommend it? Yes. Not at 160. But I do recommend it if you're a big Power Rangers fan. It's fun. It's well put together. It doesn't feel cheap. Trust me, I handle a lot of robots. This guy does not feel cheap. It's just the horrible QC that you could potentially run into that ruins it. But anyways, guys, thank you for clicking on the video. Hit that like button and subscribe. Don't forget to tell a friend. Do all the good YouTube stuff. Remember to smile because the strongest smile through it all. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.